I've learned new things about African culture and others, and it was very interesting and exciting.
This competition has actually been very good, and there's a lot of competitive, good schools as well.
What did we do?
So my experience with this is that from other schools that are competing, I learned new things from them.
I describe it like an educative program which children need to learn about leadership and history and how we study our past heroes.
Stakeholders note that this program will not only help empower the next generation through education and leadership development, but also offers compelling stories of identity and awareness.
We're looking out for boldness, we're looking out for accuracy, we're looking out for intellect. And as to why this competition is important, knowledge has to be a thing that we need young ones to be proud of. So them being proud of their knowledge, them having the opportunity to speak publicly about it.
When you build a group of children who believe that everything should work out for them, you're building people who will not necessarily cope very well in society. So it's important to introduce children early to the fact that you are in a world where though resources may not necessarily be limited, because I believe that the world is full of limitless resources. It's important that you engage with the world and take your place early.
I like initiatives like this because they aid the necessary conversations and they help to groom the people that will become leaders tomorrow. So I think that it should be encouraged, it should be supported, and if better, if possible, rather, it should be pushed to even be bigger than this on bigger platforms.
This 2026 edition drew over 30 schools with 300 students in the preliminary rounds before narrowing to 15 finalists.
Education is beyond just the class. The purpose of education is to change behavior. And what we are trying to do is change behavior in how the children see themselves and how they see the world.
Cash prizes and other educational items were presented to the overall winner, Awoyaya Primary School, Victoria Island. Second place winner, Spring Children's School, Okota, and the third place.
Having said that, we've been able to provide an environment where investors can acquire land, get the title documents, get the C of O within 24 hours. We digitized our land administration. So at any part of the world you are, you can verify the authenticity of the land you have acquired. In the area of technology, Imo State has built an Imo digital city that is the most robust digital city in Africa, headquartered in Owerri. And when you come there, what do? We have graduated over 65,000 startups, young minds in various digital skills, out of which over 70% are already working or doing their own private businesses. Our broadband penetration is still under 50%, and an opportunity for private people to come and partner with the government. Our new business model is public-private partnership. The reason for our participation is to give security of people coming to do business in Imo State. So Imo State is the investment destination. Only last year, we organized an international investment summit that attracted personalities from all over the world. Ban Ki-moon, former Secretary General of the United Nations; Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister of Britain; the President of Liberia; the former President of Mauritius. From the private sector, we brought heads of banks. The people like the President of Afrexim Bank, Aliko Dangote, all of them have businesses in Imo State now. And our tax regime, we have harmonized our tax system, removing all duplications in tax payment. So the ease of doing business in Imo State has been rated so highly that it is now investors' destination. In the area of tourism, we renovate and build our old Concord Hotel. And by the 1st of August this year, Hilton's Hotel will start operations in Owerri through our management agreement with Hilton Group. So we have done our best. We have created all the enabling environment and support that will enable investors to come into Imo State. And the security, insurance companies that used to charge very extensively to companies doing businesses in Owerri as a result of insecurity and other considerations have now brought down their premiums. So I invite all of you to Imo State. In the area of solid minerals, we have limestone deposit, kaolin, and so many other solid minerals that requires investment. Imo State will no longer be a place for only raw materials. We urge investors to come. We will give you the environment to do your businesses, process our raw materials, create jobs for our people, and then make your money, because we also believe on return on investment from the capital market. So I think that is so far what we have done. For want of time, I will want to invite interested investors to have side-by-side, sideline discussion with me, so I can tell you more juicy opportunities awaiting your invite to Imo State. Thank you.
Your Excellency, that was a very wide-ranging pitch, because there's so many different areas. It definitely wasn't 4 minutes, but a very wide-ranging pitch on so many different areas, including electricity, the digital city in Owerri. I do want to talk about the ease of doing business, because that's a big thing for investors. I know you already touched on it, but just talk to us about how the ease of doing business and the business environment in terms of regulation, red tape, how has all that changed over the past 10 years in Imo State?
As a guide, we have an industrial policy which serves as a roadmap for startups from the point of concept to study, engineering, construction, and commissioning. We have a guide. For the last 10 years, we actually have a very ambitious program of a $1 trillion US dollar economy. And we are going to leverage from our proposed partnerships with federal government. Like I said here, before 2020, the travel time between one point in Imo State to another point usually takes 3 to 4 hours. But as I speak, there is no part of Imo State moving from the state capital, Owerri, that you cannot get in 40 minutes, because we have almost tied all the roads in Imo State, connecting cities and neighboring states. Imo State sits at the middle of one of the largest markets in the eastern part of the country, Onitsha Market, Aba Market, and then the oil city of Port Harcourt. In these 3 cities, there is none you cannot get into from Owerri in less than 30 minutes. And that is the market we are talking about. The natural endowment, which we are blessed with, the hydrocarbon, the oil and gas. We have 9 world-class operating oil companies in Owerri. We can boast of the best hotels in Owerri, Imo State, in the whole southeastern region. So doing business in Imo State has been so interesting, and the investors are excited. But you see, the best way to describe it is that seeing is believing. The reason why I am here, to invite investors to come and see the opportunities in Imo State for themselves.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. Okay, let's move on to Nasarawa State. We welcome Governor Abdullahi Sule. You have 4 minutes to talk to investors about why they should look at your state.
Thank you very much. I think you have been talking about the 4 minutes. I don't know if you ever got it.
No, nobody's doing the 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But please try.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, Your Excellency, the Governor of Lagos, and all the other colleagues of mine, the governors, honorable ministers, Your Excellency, the wife of the Governor of Lagos. Let me stand there on the existing protocol. Let me join others, the Governor of Lagos, for thanking you for inviting us. As a matter of fact, the presenter said that you took it upon yourself to ensure that you even call everybody. So for me, I know you have called me about 3-4 times, to convince me to be here. So I think you have done a fantabulous job for that, and I want to thank you sincerely, for what you have done. I'm not going to repeat what an investor needs because of my background. First, I returned to Nigeria working for an oil company in Houston, Texas. And during that period, we look at Nigeria actually as an oil country, not even remembering that Nigeria is really a gas country. So when I came with that experience, going to be a governor to be able to do that. Then after being the managing director of African Petroleum for 6 years, I understood, again, the importance of Lagos, because all the oil companies had their headquarters right here in Lagos. That's why I call you my landlord. Next is actually the opportunity, that I had with the Dangote Group, where I was a group managing director. And then we had the opportunity of going to about 11 countries looking at cement and agriculture. And so I understood the challenges, of going from one place to another in order for us to understand the challenges of investors and what investors need. Those are the experiences I have carried into Nasarawa State. So on arrival in Nasarawa State, I actually went with a document which was prepared by KPMG. Maybe Kulle Alebute is somewhere here. Let me thank him for preparing that document for me, which we use in understanding the areas of competitive advantage for Nasarawa State. We didn't want to just go into everywhere. We wanted to look at what are the areas that are going to be of competitive advantage for Nasarawa State, rather than just saying we are going to do ICT, we are going to do tourism, we are going to do that. So that document prepared us and helped us to be able to come up with another document, which set up our investment company. So our investment company is actually a one-stop shop. And for you to understand the ease of doing business when it comes to Nasarawa State, when I came into the state, we were about number 32 in the country, because people saw us mostly as a state, mainly, for civil service. The mentality about that is wait for federal allocation at the end of the month. Once you receive it, you share it, pay salaries, this and that, everybody go to bed. And this is a state called State of Solid Minerals, which means you have all the 7 critical minerals that you are looking for in the world today, all in Nasarawa State. So what we did was to come up with that. So what did the investor need? Again, similar to my experience with the Dangote Group. So what we did, remember, today we are all celebrating the oil refinery at Lekki. In reality, that refinery, when we were there, we wanted to set it up in Ondo State. It was not even meant for Lagos. It's because of the few challenges that were being faced there that it now relocated to Lagos. That Olu is actually so excited now. And if I knew he was going to be governor, then I would have said, okay, no, let's go to Nasarawa State instead of Ondo State. So those are the challenges you face. So why did Lagos State had all these advantages and all that? People actually are not looking at that. We came in, again, just like the governor of Abia State said, not to compete. As a matter of fact, I came in to invite people like the governor of Lagos, that he's using his sense of not looking at the other states as competitors, but as partners. Because we build all this based on partnership. Today he's talking about building a hub for agriculture, but I know there is no land to do true agriculture in Lagos. Therefore, the land is in Nasarawa State. So we go into partnership. Today, the biggest rice company, both in agriculture by Olam, is in Nasarawa State. Today, the biggest sugar company that you have is actually in Nasarawa State, owned by Dangote Sugar, 68,000 hectares of land. If you take 68,000 hectares of land, you are taking Ikoyi and Victoria Island put together. So for that reason, we will not compete with Lagos. We will not supply the material to Lagos. And no, I'm not even inviting the other investors. I'm inviting Lagos to come and be partner so that we can go ahead with that. So that's the direction that I'm going. You see, and I think this is the way, to go. My brother, our chairman of PGL, has told you that it takes him 40 minutes now to go from Owerri everywhere else. It doesn't matter even if I fly flyovers, it will take us nothing less than 2 hours to drive to other places. The reason is because of the size of the state. We are sitting on a 27,000 square kilometers of a state. And what do we have? Agriculture, mining. So when I came into Nasarawa State, we were just called State of Solid Minerals with no solid minerals facility whatsoever. So what did we do? We went ahead and went into a partnership with the federal government because the licenses for solid minerals are actually allocated or issued by the federal government. But the land belongs to Nasarawa State government. So we say, okay, if you want to come with your license to go through our land, to go through the solid minerals, we need a relationship with you. So we came up with an executive order and then a law to back it up by saying that anybody who is mining in Nasarawa State must also process in Nasarawa State. By coming out with that law, today we have the biggest lithium processing plant in Nasarawa State. We have now one bigger than that about to be commissioned by the president. Again, that one that I told you the biggest today is called Avatar, is 3,000 tons per day. The other one is 6,000 tons per day. And that's why for the period that we are talking about since we came, we have attracted in solid mineral and agriculture and in the area actually of real estate, we have attracted over $2.3 billion in investment, coming into the state. But we must show seriousness on our own part. And that's why last month we had our own investment summit. We started, actually, we had our own 3.0. We had to go faster than Lagos because we want to be their partners. So we knew they were having their own this month, so we had our own last month. And I want to thank the Vice President actually for being here. The Vice President was also there, and we had all these big names also that were there because they have investment. But we tested something. We said that if these people are truly investors, if they believe in our state, in Lagos it's easy for him to say that investors, we want you to get gold sponsorship, silver sponsorship, this and that, but not a state like Nasarawa. So for that reason, we say, let us test that. So when we tested that, our entire investment summit for Nasarawa State for last month, which is our 3.0, was sponsored actually by our investors. We did not have 1 naira from Nasarawa State government put into that. And that tells you that the investors now believe in us. As a matter of fact, next month, July 28th, I'm being invited to China. One of the companies that is already processing their lithium in Nasarawa State and taking the concentrate, they are now establishing a company that produces the battery in China. And they want me to come and commission that so that they can understand that it's material coming from Nasarawa State. But I'm not stopping at that. I'm inviting them to come to Nasarawa State and establish the same company to take the second stage processing so that we can take it from there. And let me conclude actually by saying that I want to thank my dear friend. He said his state is Lagos, but his state actually is Nasarawa, our Minister of Finance. For actually coming up, using and believing in what the president's economic reforms are, and working with that to be, before he became minister, he was actually economic reform troublemaker. So we work with him, and based on that, the reforms have generated so much revenue that today most of the states are able to carry out most of what you see we are doing without borrowing a naira from the bank. So that's why every opportunity I have, I thank Mr. President for taking the bullet on behalf of the states by having those resources in our hands. So for a state like Nasarawa, that I came in 2019, generating just 7 billion in a whole year, which Lagos can generate from Apapa in 3 days. I was in Apapa, so I know Apapa very well. So this is exactly the issue. So I'm using the opportunity actually. Today, by the way, we have tried. We last year, 2025, we generated about 39 billion. So we are moving in the right direction. But you see, the idea is that in order for you to go to know where you are going, you must know where you are coming from. You must back them up with a vision. So the vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was governor, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I want to thank the governor. I want to thank the governor for sustaining that vision that today we are able to see the Lagos that we are seeing today. So I thank you very, very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much, Governor Sule. Okay, we have to keep it moving because we are out of time. So I want to move swiftly to the governor of Plateau State, Your Excellency Caleb Mutfwang, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Zain. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, for honoring this occasion. Thank you, Governor Sanwo-Olu, for inviting us over here. This invitation is a validation of our position as one of the emerging economies of northern Nigeria. I say this also because from a very low ranking of 29 overall in the country, the ease of doing business, we have moved steadily into the first 10 bracket. This afternoon is an opportunity for me to present to you what I call the plateau advantage. I come from a private sector background as well, as a corporate lawyer, having been involved with many corporate entities. I knew that the strategy for business has to be public-private partnership, and that has been the model we have adopted. And so we identified 3 key economic drivers. First, agriculture. Second, tourism. Third, mining. Tourism aligns with our name as the home of peace and tourism. But let me be specific on agriculture. We believe that we have the potential and the capacity to contribute greatly to Nigeria's GDP in food production, leading to food security and ultimately food sovereignty. Presently, Plateau State feeds the whole of Nigeria with what we used to call Irish potatoes, but today we call it plateau potatoes. We feed the whole of West Africa. And even our neighbors in Chad and Niger, it's from Plateau State they get their potato supplies. But we, having grown as a son of a farmer, I knew the pains my parents and grandparents went through, and we decided that we must revolutionize that sector. And therefore, having fed Nigeria and our West African neighbors by producing merely 7 tons per hectare, we have set for ourselves an ambition to move from 7 tons per hectare to 20 tons per hectare. And we are walking the talk, because one of the key ingredients in moving from 7 tons to 20 tons is seed multiplication, getting the right seedlings. And I'm glad to inform this esteemed audience that we have been building a tissue culture lab financed by the African Development Bank for the last 7 years. But it almost went bad. But to the glory of God, today we have rescued it, and it's 95% completed. So, apart from potatoes, everyone here in Lagos must have tested plateau vegetables. We are the biggest suppliers of fresh vegetables across Nigeria. One of the challenges we've had in that sector is the non-provision of infrastructure for storage. And so we have a lot of vegetables that go bad easily. And today, we are discussing with many investors across the economy on how to invest in cold chain facilities. And I'm sure that many in this room will find this a very attractive proposition. Having studied from the challenges of phase 1 of the Special Agro-Processing Zone financed by the African Development Bank, we have spent the last 2 years trying to avoid the mistakes of phase 1, and we are privileged to be among the states that were approved for phase 2. And as I'm talking to you, we have negotiated and acquired 500 hectares of land centered around the airport, which the Honorable Minister of Aviation is here, have graciously approved to become a cargo international airport. We've signed an MOU with the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, and I'm sure very soon we'll be having a conversation on how to improve the facilities at that airport. We also have the dry inland port around the same ecosystem. And by Monday next week, I will break the ground for the first meat processing center that we are going to put in the agro-processing zone. We are building a new ultra-modern abattoir, so we are moving it from outside the city into that economic zone around the airport, because we are targeting that will not only feed Lagos, but will also export to the Middle East. At the center of the abattoir is that we are trying to leverage on our advantage as one of the best places to breed cattle in Nigeria. So we are starting an ambitious project in livestock development, trying to convert conflict to profit. And we are hoping that in the next 2 years, we would have been able to develop the value chain across the livestock sector, from feedlots to fodder lots, the logistics around it, and of course the processing center. So there's a lot of investment opportunities across the value chain. We are hoping that the improvement in the agronomy of feeding cattle with such a huge economy that is yet to be exploited. We are leveraging on our advantage. Of course, in tourism, we are looking at the opportunities that our weather and our climate provide. We are also hoping, we are working on it. The feasibility studies are almost concluded. We are trying to ensure that we build our capacity in health tourism. Apart from the advantage we have in our physical assets. Sorry. Okay, then I'll soon conclude. There's so much to say, but let me say this, that Plateau is open for business, and I'd like to offer this opportunity to the great investors in this room. 2 years ago, I was looking for 200 million naira. Today, if you give me 1 billion, it will be spent and turned to profit on the Plateau. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. And thank you to all 5 governors on this stage. And I do want to say I do agree with what Mr. Otti said, that it is a very selfless thing to do, to use your platform to highlight other states. So thank you for that. And thank you for listening. Thank you, everyone.
Moment when the world starts to pay attention. For Lagos, every city has a moment when the world starts to pay attention. For Lagos, that moment didn't arrive suddenly. It has been building for decades. From its early days as a coastal trading post to its role as a colonial administrative center, Lagos became a point where commerce, culture, and capital met. Its port connected Nigeria to the global market. Its markets shaped regional trade. Its people built one of the most active commercial systems on the continent. Over time, Lagos didn't wait to be discovered. It kept expanding, structuring, positioning itself. It stands at the center of economic activity in Nigeria and remains a key gateway into West Africa. Yet many still engage it at the surface. Invest Lagos is focused on helping investors access Lagos through structured investable pathways. Invest Lagos 3.0 is where those pathways are engaged, explored, and activated. This is Lagos.
This is the podium beside me. Yes, we are seconds away from hearing from our man of the hour. But before we do that, I'd like to just get a few words from a tireless worker for Africa and Nigeria's future and investment. The Honorable Festus Keyamo is our Minister of Aviation. I yield the floor to you, sir. Yes, yes. We want to hear from you. Round of applause. I seem to have blindsided you, but I know that you will rise to the occasion.
Thank you very much. I will speak extempore because I was not told about this at all, not even a 1-minute hint. Mr. Vice President, Your Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State, the other governors here present, our visitors from all across the world, thank you so much and welcome to Lagos State. Lagos State is one of the busiest, if not the busiest, traffic hubs in terms of air traffic in Africa. 67% of the entry into Nigeria by air is in Lagos State. 67%. From the 5 operational international airports we have, and I think the 2 more that this administration has added. We have added Akwa Ibom and, of course, Borno State. Maiduguri is an international airport now. The first international airport in the Northeast that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given the people of the Northeast, the Maiduguri International Airport. Now, so we have added 2 more to the 5 that were existing. But in all of this, 67%, not 50, not 40, 67% of the passengers come in through Lagos State. And that's to tell you the attractiveness of Lagos State in Nigeria. Out of these international airports, Lagos is well positioned in terms of geography in the whole of Africa to be the hub of the entire African continent. In terms of geography, and I'll explain why. Lagos is equidistant to most of the major capitals across the world. Just 6 hours across the Atlantic, you'll get to South America from the Lagos airport. 6 hours down, you'll get to Southern Africa. 6 hours to the Middle East, you'll get to Dubai or Qatar. 6 hours up, you'll get to Europe, either France or London. And all. That is the equidistant, advantage that Lagos also provides as a hub, the whole of Africa. So we will soon catch up with hubs like Addis Ababa, with hubs like Togo, even Togo here, because it's a hub for ASCAI. The government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has invested a lot in aviation, has shown enough attention, to aviation. The president has approved $500 million, not money borrowed, from his sweat, from the sweat of the savings of the country to rebuild the hub, the airport in Lagos. $500 million. That's the investment. And it is turning that airport that is 50 years old, to a marvelous hub. You'll be very proud of what you see in Lagos in the next 22 months. That's the kind of attention that the president has paid to the airport in Lagos State. We're also planning to extend the rail line that ends at Ikeja bus stop. We are working with the Lagos State government to extend that rail line all the way to the GAT, the local, all the way through Bicotny, and all the way to the international airport. That rail line is about to start. It's the extension of the rail line. And we're working with the Lagos State government on that. So Lagos is just ready for the next big step. in terms of its aviation activities. It's ready for the next big step. Even a 20-year-old dispute that we had with a private investor in Lagos in terms of the airport in Lagos, 20-year dispute that successive governments could not resolve. It was the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that brought that dispute to an end. And so, we are ready. There will be no question, no problem. This government, apart from the federal government, the Lagos state government too, they have shown tremendous support for private investment. There is no dispute regarding private investment that we met on the ground, even beyond the aviation sector. I'm sure you saw the ones too with the oil sector. There's no private dispute that has been lingering that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not resolved since he came to office in terms of private investment. So welcome to Lagos. I welcome all of you, and I invite you to please invest not only in the federal government-owned airport in Lagos, but the private airport that Lagos State is trying to float in Lekki, the Lekki corridor. I invite you to invest in it. Thank you, and God bless you all. Did you catch me unawares?
No, you were wonderful. So basically, you're saying Lagos is flying high.
Absolutely.
Lagos,
Absolutely.
Our aviation minister, give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. Now, before we hear from our keynote speaker, none of this would be possible without our supporters and our partners. And I want to quickly recognize a few of them. The government of Taraba State, Plateau State, Imo State, and Niger State have been strong gold partners to Invest Lagos 3.0, as have Access Bank, First Bank, and CCECC. Our strategic institutional partner is Afrexim Bank, and our silver sponsors are Aridex and Toleram. We have Pavilion partners, which I'll tell you about later, strategic partners and technical partners, and I want us to give a warm round of applause. It's not easy to put something like this, and it's not cheap, so give them a warm round of applause, please. Now, you've heard this term, and you probably read it as well in the brochures and all the materials, presidential scale. Actually, you heard from the Minister of the Coordination of the Economy and the Finance Minister about how strong the federal government backs up what happens here in Lagos. You even heard the Aviation Minister say it right there. There's a gentleman in this room who wakes up every morning, and the first thing he thinks is, how can I make Nigeria more investable? And how can I change the lives for the over 220 million Nigerians that we have? Heavy is that burden on his shoulders, but he's definitely up for it. I always love hearing him, and I always feel honored to welcome him. He is your keynote speaker. So I'm going to ask you to stand up and please acknowledge His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima.
Kindly take your seats, please. Kindly take your seats. I watched with great excitement the opening stage performance by the Terra culture groups. That was beautiful, scintillating, captivating, and connecting. But that is not to say you are the best. Wait till you see the Borno State cultural troupe performance. But then I bet you if Shakira had watched this performance before releasing the World Cup song, there is no way she would not have included this performance in that 2026 World Cup thing. So, my colleagues in the Federal National Economic Council, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, and his amiable wife, Dr. Claudia Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, the Chairman, Progressive Governors Forum, and Governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Odidika Uzodimma, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, Engineer Abdullahi Esule, the Executive Governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Oti OFR, The Executive Governor of Plateau State, Barrister Caleb Manasseh Mutpong, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Dr. Akon Ekanyi, the Deputy Governor of Enugu State, Barrister Ekanyi Osai, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Honorable Ishile Ayoko Bochwe, the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, His Excellency a fellow bloody Nigerian, Wamkele Mene. Chair Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, Lord Marlin. Minister, Delegate to the Minister of External Affairs in charge of relations with the Commonwealth Republic of Cameroon, His Excellency Felix Mbayu. The Honorable Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Tayo Oyedele. The Honorable Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Barrister Festus Keyamo, SAN. Heads of government agencies and parastatals, members of the diplomatic corps, and I want to weaponize Honorable Mustaine Abiodun Tobun to recognize and appreciate all members of the Lagos State House of Assembly. For the Lagos State Executive Council, I want to use the Secretary to the State Government, Mrs. Abimbola Salu Hundein, as my point of reference to recognize and appreciate all members of the Lagos State Executive Council. Captains of industry and development partners present, members of the fourth asset of the RIM, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Lagos is the live wire of our continent. Lagos is the furnace in which our ideas are tested against the discipline of execution. Lagos is the great doorway to which Nigeria continues to greet the future. It is truly the place that teaches us that progress is never delivered to a people who wait for history to be kind to them. Many times, when the burden of nation building appears too heavy, Lagos stands before us as proof that Nigeria can still catch up with the rest of the world, that our possibilities are not lost, and that the future is within reach when imagination is joined to courage, order, capital, and competent leadership. It is therefore with great pleasure that I join this distinguished gathering of policymakers, innovators, investors, entrepreneurs, development partners, captains of industry, and stakeholders from across the global economic community as the Invest in Lagos Summit 3.0. Lagos has found fortune in the quality of leaders it has produced, pays for its own redemption, and ultimately for the renewal of our nation. Since the return of our hard-fought democracy, Lagos has been blessed with leadership that understood that a place may be crowded without being confused, prosperous without being complacent, and ambitious without losing its soul. Here, His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, planted the tree whose shade has sheltered a succession of leaders committed to futurist ideas, institutional continuity, and disciplined governance. The foundation has made it possible for us to gather here today to witness the evolution of Lagos as a continental powerhouse. 25 years ago, Lagos was a no-go area. It was a hell on earth. To borrow the words of the British writer Rudyard Kipling, life was short and brutish in Lagos. But because of the quality of leadership, we were harvesting 30 deaths across the streets of Lagos every single day. Now a nation, a state capital of 25 million people, is one of the safest cities in the world, contributing 30% of the GDP of our nation. Lagos donated to the nation Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Again, it was Lagos that donated to Africa its richest man, not Kano. Aliko Dangote is a Lagos man. Again, it is not Kano, But Lagos, that gave Africa its second richest man, Abdul Samad Ishaku Rabiu. Of the 9 unicorns in Africa, 5 are based in Nigeria, all in Lagos. And because of the tolerant bosom of Lagos, of all the 5 unicorns, Plutaweb, Ope, Monipoint, Interswitch, and Dela, it's only Plutaweb that was founded by sons of Lagos. Zhu Yahui, the founder of Ohe, is a Chinese. Tosin Yeno Rolunda, the founder of Monipoint, hails from Ondo State. Interswitch founder Market Mitchell Elegbe hails from Edo State. But Lagos has a big heart. Festus Keyamo, the Minister of Aerospace Management, doesn't call Ughelli home, he calls Lagos home. Tayo Owedele, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, doesn't call Ondo home, he calls Lagos home. The governor of Nasarawa State, he again calls Lagos home. My friend, my brother, Senator Hope Uzodinma, made all his money in Lagos before he remembered that he hailed from Imo State. And of course, the performing governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Otti, he made his career and money all in Lagos before thinking of politics back in Abia State. So Lagos is home to Nigeria. Lagos met almost everybody who is who in Nigeria. And with all humility, I cut my banking teeth here in Lagos. So I'm also a Lagos boy. So this vision of Lagos lives in the aspiration and industry of His Excellency, Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu. It is the reason I am deeply pleased by the success of this premier platform for investment dialogue, economic collaboration, and business development. The theme of this year's summit, Lagos, the Business Gateway to Africa, reflects the reality of a changing world in which Lagos has retained its place as a marketplace of ideas, a center of enterprise, a hub of innovation, a corridor of commerce, and one of the most important economic engines on the African continent. It is no surprise that investors seeking access to Africa's opportunities look first to Lagos. It is no surprise that entrepreneurs launch businesses here that serve Nigeria and reach the wider continent. It is no surprise that global companies establish regional headquarters in this city of appetite, energy, talent, and endless motion. Lagos provides access to markets, capital, talent, infrastructure, and opportunity at a pace only a few emerging economies can match. Your Excellencies, this summit therefore goes beyond the promotion of investment within a specific geography. It imagines Lagos as Africa's business gateway, aligned with the national promise of building a $1 trillion economy. Since the commencement of our administration, we have implemented far-reaching macroeconomic reforms designed to restore market confidence, improve fiscal sustainability, and unlock private capital at scale. We have taken difficult decisions. The President had taken the bullet for making painful decisions, because we understand that the economy of our dream cannot be built on illusions. And leadership entails taking hard, harsh decisions. If you want to be a nice man, you can go and sell ice cream. But leadership requires you taking very harsh decisions. It must be built on productivity, discipline, competitiveness, and the courage to create a climate in which enterprise can breathe. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria's demographic advantage places us at the center of the next chapter of global growth. With our population projected to become the 3rd largest in the world by 2050, we are looking at one of the largest consumer and labor markets on earth. When this is combined with the opportunities of the African continental free trade area, which opens access to a market of over 1.4 billion people, and a combined GDP exceeding 3.4 trillion US dollars, Nigeria is strategically positioned to become Africa's foremost production, innovation, logistics, and investment hub. However, the economic ideal we seek cannot be driven by the federal government alone. It must be powered by a strong partnership between the center and the subnational governments that serve as the primary engines of economic activity. And this is why Lagos stood out. This is why Lagos has kept us all on our toes. Without Lagos, Nigeria would have been an easier exhibit for the pessimists who insist that Africa is condemned to the margins of modernity. Lagos is the compass of our national aspiration, the restless needle that keeps pointing us towards scale, speed, reform, enterprise, and global relevance. We cannot afford to take Lagos for granted. Lagos is Nigeria. Lagos is life. This is why we strongly support initiatives such as the Invest in Lagos Summit 3.0. It shows how subnational governments can strategically position themselves within the global investment ecosystem. It also provides a framework for other states to join the race to the future, improve the ease of doing business, strengthen regulatory efficiency, modernize land administration, develop bankable infrastructure projects, and create investor-friendly policies that inspire confidence. Lagos has shown us time and again that it is not building its ideas in isolation. It understands that no part of this country is truly developed unless every part is given a fair chance to rise. This explains the presence of governors and stakeholders from across the Federation today. I want to thank you, Your Excellencies, for identifying with Lagos, for showing solidarity with Lagos, and for your large-heartedness in giving platforms to your colleagues to showcase their different states. It's a win-win situation, so we are mightily proud of you for your generosity of spirit. We all know that a gateway does not exist for itself. It exists to open doors. It exists to facilitate movement. It exists to connect markets, people, ideas, and investment. To our local and international investors, I welcome you to the promise that is Lagos. I also assure you that this administration, under the able leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, remains committed to ensuring that investors encounter a stable, transparent, and increasingly competitive business environment. The road ahead is not about making Lagos bigger alone. It is about making Lagos a stronger gateway through which global capital enters Africa, a gateway through which African innovation reaches the world, and a gateway through which Nigerian enterprise competes with confidence on the global stage. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we can neither afford to misread the road signs nor abandon the train we have trusted to take us to the future. Lagos reminds us that nations are not rescued by nostalgia. They are built by men and women who can see beyond the epoch of the present, who can organize capital around ideas, who can turn geography into advantage, and who can combat human energy into shared prosperity. Some decisions are hard, some decisions are harsh, but they are almost inevitable. Yes. I can assure you, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that we have crossed the Rubicon. When we assumed the mantle of leadership, our foreign reserves was $3.9 billion for a nation of 240 million people. The president did not go to town blaming past administrations. He believes that uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. He has a lot of empathy for the Nigerian people. But withdrawing fuel subsidy became almost an inevitable decision. And it was not part of his maiden broadcast to the nation, no. He kept it close to his heart. and announced the withdrawal of fuel subsidy on an impromptu basis. Now, our economy has stabilized. Our foreign reserves is in the region of $50 billion and still growing. So I want to assure you, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that Nigeria is ready and open for business. Finally, I want to recognize the presence of one of the pioneer sons of Africa. I saw him briefly, Akinwumi Adesina, former Chief Executive of the African Development Bank. And of course, Zain Asha, if you are still around, we appreciate you. We adore you. We love you. Fundamentally because you are proud of your African heritage. You are proud of your Nigerian ancestry. Time and again, you have always shown to the world that you are a son of a daughter of Africa, a daughter of Nigeria. We are mightily proud of you. It is therefore my singular honor and privilege to declare the Invest in Lagos Summit 3.0 officially open. Long live Lagos State, long live Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Please, for a pioneer of investment and a supporter and a son, a boy of Lagos like the rest of us. Now I'm going to invite some boys and girls of Lagos and elsewhere to take the family photo with you, Your Excellency. Could I invite His Excellency the Governor is already here. Also the co-chairs, the Honorable Commissioner for Commerce, Deputy Chief of Staff of Lagos.
Edition of Invest in Lagos, that is Invest in Lagos 3.0, and it has been an epoch-making event. Lagos is open to business. Lagos is ready for business, and that is the takeaway message.
Honorable Shirley Botchway, please join us over here for this picture. The AFCFTA Secretary General Wankele Mene, please join us. All honorable ministers, the Minister of Finance, for example, the Minister of Aviation, please join us. The representative of Women Affairs and Blue Economy, please join us as well. Who are we missing? Let's see. And if you're a minister from a fellow country, please join us. If you're a minister from one of the other countries who's come and traveled to Invest Lagos, you are very welcome to join us. Minister Felix.
Invest in Lagos 3.0 no doubt aligns with the 2025 to 2030 industrial policy initiatives designed to consolidate the economic prowess of the state. This summit is expected to produce unprecedented economic progress as it moves from deliberation to the boardroom. And that is the climax of the live telecast, the live transmission of the opening of Invest in Lagos 3.0. I am Joel Ukbola, thanking you for staying tuned to the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest television network.
This is Lagos Television, the voice of Lagos.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the ECO Learner Support for WAEC and NECO Candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects: mathematics, English language, physics, chemistry, and biology, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch ECO Learner Support for WAEC and NECO candidates on this station. Learners can also connect with ECO Learner Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. ECO Learner Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Every soul deserves a form of fragrance, but an important fragrance that man must have is that fragrance created by Allah, as it envelopes the entirety of man and completes his essence.
Fragrance, your weekly dose of spiritual nourishment and guidance.
Sharing the fragrance of love, sharing the fragrance of happiness,